Good morning, folks. How are we doing? I am Scott. That is Bo. Today is the 12th day of April 2022. It is a nice day down here in Tampa, Florida, though I look like. My neighbor came and knocked on my door at midnight, having chest pains, wanting me to call the police and a house ambulance, so I did. And that kept me from going back to sleep till about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I am up quick and early this morning to make a video for you guys before running off to the doctor myself. I'm awake. How are you? It's a nice day down here. It is Tuesday. Lots of stuff going on. People are sending me, calling my attention to tweets where they are really desperate, trying everything. Aaron Mate found someone posting something about potential chemical weapon attack. Somebody else sent me a link to where they're saying, I think it was on BB sent me a link to where someone was saying that a witness who was raped said the Russian soldiers had handfuls of Viagra. I mean, Jesus Christ. Somebody else sent me a thing where I remember in 2008, and I covered this and I wrote about this for American Everyman, but that was taken away. That might be on one of those places, the early one that has the 2008 articles that I wrote, or some of them. A photographer was staging photos of the Georgian conflict, and a big dramatic picture of a guy holding his buddy and agonizing. Well, they took that photo from a couple different angles, but then in order to see which one would be more effective, they did the same thing with the same two guys in a different location. So either it was staged one way or the other, but either it was just two guys, two actors, or they were taking a dead body and dragging it around for the best photo shot. Who knows? But come to find out, that same guy who took those photos in 2008 is now photographing shit in Bucha and other places in Ukraine. He's still doing his neat little trick. Good morning, folks. This is going to be a quick one. Stand with Ukraine. You better stand with Ukraine. Sean Penn tells you, if we don't stand with Ukraine, with these people, the best of what America means is lost forever. A bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white kids carrying a red and black fascist flag. The flag, by the way, that symbolized Ukrainian complicity with the Nazis and the fascists. There it is. It's just some random artist's interpretation, ladies and gentlemen. That's a children's fucking book. And it's not just one children's book. This is an article from Sputnik. I know, it's Sputnik, however, talking about the psychological warfare that has been waged on children to turn them into this for the last 3 decades, 2.5 decades. Certainly since 2004, in the first Maidan. Psychological warfare front in Ukraine was opened decades ago, but the distortion of history became a key strategy after the 2014 Maidan coup. Western consultants distributed budgets in a diversified manner. Information strategies directed at children became key focus of their work, regardless of the harm it caused to children's psyches. Invincible Ants by Larissa Nitsoy is a national bestseller, a brightly colored book with good print work and good printed on quality paper, telling the story of an invincible ant. The book is meant for children ages 5 and up. The book is about an ant community that lived, worked, and knew no sorrow before getting attacked by a neighboring insect colony who had beforehand sworn their fraternal affection. The neighbors attacked and destroyed the anthill and ruined their happy life. However, in the end, good ants unite, defeat the invaders, and drive them from their land. The little ants are taught to shoot, with the main character, the tiny tot ant, always carrying a machine gun with him because the enemies are always nearby. For the children, just a little bit older, there is Insurgent ABCs, a primer for the alphabet, and the adventures of Alarmic and his friends. That is Insurgent ABCs. Alarmic, a nice little blue-eyed, blonde-haired white kid. Stand with Ukraine. This kind of propaganda constantly being pushed on people, children, the easiest target of this stuff, which is why the World Economic Forum is now propagandizing children in terms of all of this shit. Why they've, back in 1971, the Lewis Powell memo specifically talked about getting into colleges, teaching their unregulated free market ideology and worship of the corporate state to bright, young, impressionable minds, but even demanding that they go back even further into secondary school and primary schools to teach this message. And of course, the whole Love Malala thing back in the day was all about getting Gordon Brown's for-profit universal charter school system into all of these countries like Pakistan, like Afghanistan, where they would teach this ideology, this kind of ideology, to young people all across the world. Of course, that's what that whole thing was all about. Stand with Ukraine, says Sean Penn, and so many others. At a time when it's remarkable to me that nobody has stepped back and said, wait a minute, maybe their values and what we pretend are our values are incompatible with each other. No, you got to stand with Ukraine. But I'll tell you something else I've noticed. There's not a whole lot of minorities I've seen coming out going, stand with Ukraine. And nobody seems to fucking notice. A lot of white folks doing it. Work like this has its consequences and it has its results. And that is, I know everyone's told that you cannot fucking focus on the ultra-nationalist, fascist, Nazi element in Ukraine because it doesn't really exist, and if it does, it's like 15 people. No, it's not. It's only a bunch of old white guys who don't have a job anymore and they're pissed off and their wives beat their ass. No, it's not.
Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам! Україна понад усе! Слава Україні! Героям слава! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Україна понад усе!
Революція! Революція! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Нація! Батьківщина! Це Україна! Куди віяти? Куди віяти? Москаля, куди віяти? Москаля, куди віяти? Москаля, куди віяти? Москаля, куди віяти? Хто не скаче, той москаль! Хто не скаче, той москаль! Хто не скаче, той москаль!
Who is not jumping is a Russian. This is the kind of fucking propaganda and dogma. This is the kind of shit that should be frightening to anybody next to them. Anybody that isn't just full of blonde-haired, blue-eyed white kids, you know, and even some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white kids are still in trouble. She's not blonde, but she's white. Her sin is that she spoke Russian. And so this Ukrainian soldier is standing around while she is duct taped to a telephone pole, and her face is painted green. So even white people next to those folks. And if you want to really go back, you know, to the Stepan Bandera days, the 100,000 Poles that they fucking committed genocide against, were they Hungarians? It's one of the two. They were Caucasian. And of course, so are these people. I'm going to show you a brief clip. This is from Rare, but they're talking about this individual, an American in Ukraine. Now, I'm going to post links to this down below so you can go look at it yourself. A bunch of videos he's doing running around in Mariupol in Ukraine. He is a bit, he doesn't miss a trick in the middle of what he's doing to say, like and subscribe and support our channel. And he is a bit overly fucking emotional at times when it's not really, doesn't really work with the situation. So obviously he's doing this for money. However, he's over there. He's doing it. And if they catch him, they will fuck him up bad. So I give him all the credit in the world. Yes, I know he's going to do that occasionally. I'm just telling you right now. But at least he's doing this. Now these are people, I believe, in Mariupol. They're going to tell you. I'm going to read the translation for you.
Now we're here just,
That's
it seems maybe 300, 400 meters from Ukraine or Azov-controlled territory. And we come across some people that are giving out humanitarian aid. We're going to see how that goes and have a talk with some of the people here.
While I was standing at the entrance of the building, a sniper from the factory shot at me twice. I managed to hide. Who was it? He's from Azov. They're villains. Maybe you're in the military? No, this is what I wear. They thought you were in the military? No, this is what I was wearing. They shoot at civilians. They kill and destroy buildings. Look at this little woman running up from down the street here. I'll back it up a little bit for you so you can see it again. This is fucking heartbreaking. Look at her. Running. Running because there's somebody giving away bread. That doesn't fucking make you fucking because someone's giving away bread. And the Russians aren't doing this to them. Ukrainians are doing this to them.
Вот эти вот это, как назвать их, бандеры или фашисты, или нацисты, я не знаю, как назвать. Или...
He said, these are banderas, these are fascists, or Nazis, or SS men. I don't know what to call them, but that's what they are. He said, is that what you do? What they do? Are you local? He said, yeah, it's my house. I live here. Just that image of that little girl, little lady running to get some fucking bread is fucking heartbreaking. And this is not staged. This is Mariupol. This guy is running around in these areas. Later in another video, I haven't seen all these videos he does, but later in this one, an area that they're at is shelled. He's talking about, this is Mariupol, and this is where they say now that this they're going to take all of Mariupol. The Russians are going to take all of Mariupol because they've pushed the national police and the Ukrainian military and the Azov battalion and all of that. They've pushed them back to a factory. But then from that factory area, they're shelling randomly into various areas in Mariupol. There's apparently a divide in Mariupol, area that's because Mariupol's in the very southern part of the country. There's part of Mariupol that is DNR, DNP, DNR, which is Donbass and Donetsk, and there's part of it that's loyal to Ukraine, and it's been like that for a long time. Certainly since 2014. So they've been shelling Mariupol along with the Donbass areas for quite a while. Recently, he was saying in this video that they just bombed a bus terminal. The Ukrainians did, not the Russians. The Ukrainians did, because they didn't want people leaving. The bus terminal served both neighborhoods, both areas. This is heartbreaking. Watching all of these people now, when they first got there with this aid worker, there were very few people out there to get. But once word got around, like that woman running down the street to get some bread, pretty soon there's like 50 people or so. But they've got to get what they can out of the van into the people's hands and take off before they're seen and targeted for doing this by the fucking Ukrainians. Stand with Ukraine. Right, Sean Penn? Because it's the best. That's the best of what America stands for. That's the best of what America stands for. Right there, Sean. Right there. How that isn't the end of this fucker's career, I have no concept. That's the best of what America stands for. How that isn't the end of his career, I don't know what is. So this is on Rare. I'll post a link to it down below. It's not 1984. It's much worse. Free Thinker Man 1. I'm following him. He posted a link to this, so you can see that. Lastly, I'll show you this. Now, as bad as this fucking video is showing these psycho talking about death to the Russians. Here's a little kid marching down the street. I believe that might be Hail to the nation. Death to the enemies. Ukraine above all. Ukraine above all.
Ну що, москалику, поговоримо? Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Слава нації!
Смерть москалям!
One holding knives, the other holding an axe. It goes on and on and on. And you can find all kinds of videos like this all over the internet. stand with Ukraine, because it's the best of what America has been. Says a white guy. This is the last thing I'll show you, just so you know that it's not no propaganda campaign. No indoctrination campaign is 100% successful. None. And there are a lot of good people in Ukraine, I'm sure, on both sides of this conflict. There are a lot of Ukrainian draft dodgers. And Yahoo News says they feel guilt, shame, and reproach. I doubt it. Because remember, as much as they tried to get all the kids 20 years ago to hate fucking Russia and all things Russia and stand with Ukraine, and if you're not jumping, you're a fucking Russian. As much as they tried to do this with this brainwashing, with this indoctrination program of theirs, the reason Zelensky won was because he campaigned on a reunification and a normalization campaign, normalizing relations between U.S. and between Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, and Ukraine and the breakaway republics from Donetsk and Lugansk. So apparently, it wasn't as effective as they would have liked. And apparently, Kolomoisky is the guy who made Zelensky from a bullshit little half-ass actor and comedian to star of his own TV show, being the president, to being actual president. Apparently, people like Kolomoisky understand that as well, because it was Kolomoisky who dictated the campaign that he ran on, because they all knew from their polling and that people wanted less conflict with the Russians and more unity with the breakaway republics. So that's the positive news. However, the reality is it's still a lot of fucking people doing horrible shit over there. To anyone caught speaking Russian or who's not hopping up and down at the right moment. And they're certainly doing horrible shit to the people and their own people in Ukraine, regardless of what they speak.
Эсэсовцы. Вот что они делают.
Вы местный?
Да, вот мой дом, я живу здесь. И стреляют по мирным жителям. Они по военным не стреляют.
They shoot at civilians. They don't shoot military. Only civilians.
Это по мирным.
Где мы находимся сейчас?
Улица Монтажная.
Thank you for your time.